Hey everybody, it's Brian. I'm back in the garage today continuing our CR85 project, and today we're going to do one of the best things you can do to dress up your bike for the least amount of money, and that is put on new graphics and new plastic. So let's get going. So doing graphics is not super difficult, but you do need some tools. I have this heat gun, and this one's a good one. It's made by Seek One, and I got it on Amazon. This is a tack rag, which is like super cheap. A squeegee, which usually the bike graphics companies will give you when you order their graphics. And this is dishwashing soap in water. Soap and water, squeegee, tack rag, heat gun. And by the way, the heat, you don't need a lot of heat, so a blow dryer will actually work just fine in this case. So, all right, let's get going. I bought some new plastics from UFO. Those guys have been real nice to me. Not nice enough to sponsor me, but but nice nonetheless. So anyway, this is a new UFO plastic. I have this on another bike, and this stuff turned out really nice. I like the UFO plastic. They fit real good, and they look real true to factory colors. So this is what we're going to use as our base. The sticker kit that I got came from this company called Avic, and I just found these guys on eBay, frankly, and they were willing to make this kit up for me. They didn't actually have this CR85 graphic in their design catalog, but they were willing to make it up for me, so why not, right? Like a lot of things, preparation is everything. So this thing just came out of a plastic sheet, so it's probably pretty clean, but I want to go over it with a tack rag just to make sure there's no dust on the surface. So this is just a plain old tack rag. Painters use this stuff all the time. So just go over the surface and just make sure there's no dust on there. That will spoil your sticker. I know it's a little fussy, but I am fussy, and I like to clean the sticker off also, but not near the plastic, because you don't want something that's on this to get on that. So clean this separately and away from the plastic. Alright, so the next step is to soap up this surface here, and you can soap this thing up like crazy. You don't need to be in any way shy about soaping it up. Just spray the heck out of it. Then the same goes with the back of the sticker. So this is the sticker surface, and I spray this with water as well. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, because stickers don't ever seem like they want to line up with the holes on the plastic. I don't know why, but it always seems like it's a struggle to get them to lay down nice. So you want to line up all the various holes first. And look for lines like this that you need to follow. See, right here it looks a little too high, so I think I need to bring that down just a little. Get a nice straight line. That should be right. Now again, it's a little hard to tell sometimes during this stage. Then lastly down here, this is a bolt hole, and it wants to go a little bit long, a little bit further this way, so you got to push it down a little bit, because somewhere along the line you're going to need that space. So get that lined up nice. Now you basically have your first anchor points. So in my experience, I usually work from the high spots to the low spots. So in this one, this rib right here is the higher of the spots, so I'm going to work on getting that to lay down first. The initial kind of getting it lined up, making sure everything seems to be fairly in place. Looks pretty close. Now we're going to get a little more aggressive with the squeegee. I know it sounds silly, but this thing needs to be clean also. So now we're going to work, just see if we can kind of start to get the adhesive to touch the plastic and it start to adhere. Everything seems to be lining up. So just slowly start to work it in. And as you squeegee, you'll drive out some of the water. Now, it sometimes will seem like it won't stick initially, but it will. You just gotta keep working it and working the water out, and eventually the adhesive will start to touch the plastic and it will adhere. Soapy water will not hurt your adhesive. So basically I'm just working from high spots to low spots. Now here we have a depression basically, and this is where you can lose some dimension. Like this piece right here, you can be quickly off the center line of that. You don't want to lose your dimension there, so try to make sure to set that dimension or that spacing first. Then we can work out the rest of it with the heat gun to get it to comply. See, when you've got a depression, this is going to need more material to get down into that depression. So that's what you need to keep in mind. These hole alignments, these parts where you fasten the plastic to the bike, those should line up. Here's another depression right here in the plastic. See that? So that's going to have to be worked with a heat gun to get that to lay down. It's just a little too rigid, but we can get that to lay down with the heat gun. I'm just working the high spots, trying to get some adherence before I introduce the heat gun. Okay, so I've got just basic adherence in this area where it's easy to get compliance. Little rib right there, we're going to work that out with the heat gun too, don't worry. So now I'm going to get the heat gun ready and we're going to start really working on getting this stuff to comply with the surface. Now be careful with a heat gun because they can get hot real fast and you can melt your plastic. So you don't need a lot, just work it gently. That is already a lot of heat. That laid down nice. Careful with the heat gun. If you get too much heat in there, it's easy to scratch the plastic. It just becomes too soft. A little bit of heat, you see it wrinkle just a hair. Work it on. Boom. Super nice. It's working great. A little more heat. If you don't have a heat gun, you can also use a hair dryer, but it takes a little longer for the hair dryer to get up to temperature before it really starts to affect the plastic enough that it makes it actually bend enough to comply. But it will work. Okay, that one is down. Looks super nice too, doesn't it? Alright, let's keep going. So this one has a little depression right here. Let's work that with a heat gun. So the plastic has a depression, the sticker does not. It's rigid, so it needs to comply with that. So we're going to put a little heat into this area. I can already see that the plastic's giving way a little bit on the ridge. It's ready. We'll work from the top into what I'm going to call the crevice. Look how nice that is. Super nice. Perfect. You get sharper bends here where there's very little material on the sticker. Those sometimes are a little harder to lay down. Turned out perfect. It's laying down perfect. All right, so we're going to work this ridge now. This has a little ridge to it. Get a little heat on that. And very little material here, so you got to be careful not to upset that by pulling it too hard. Plastic's starting to give a little bit. It's ready to be worked. Super nice. This edge, this top edge, there's a little bit of lack of compliance there. That's definitely going to need a heat gun to get that to lay down. And I've done these before on these radiator shrouds, and they can be a little tricky. So let's work on that now. See the plastic starting to give. This one's going to need a little more heat. That's okay. Taking it one step at a time. Better to do it more steps and not melt it. But this laid down, this edge laid down perfect. You saw how earlier that was just had a big bump in it, but a little bit of heat gets it to comply. Gonna need a little bit more heat, but still making good progress on that. Little gap there. That's gonna take a little heat. And bam. Okay, so the top portion is pretty much done. Now we're gonna work on this part that goes down around the seat. And it's a little tricky, as you can see. I got a mounting hole here that's not perfectly lining up. It's not too bad. It's gonna be all right when I put a little heat on it. We gotta work on that a little bit. So look for your low spots first. Get those to lay in there. Looks good. Just pull the plastic there. You see that? That's where the heat, you got to be careful. You don't want to wrinkle the plastic by getting too aggressive. And I got a little bit of a compliance issue here that may need, yeah, I think I have to start that over. So this is a good idea, or good time to see that you can manipulate the plastic sometimes and redo it. That's one of the benefits of putting the soapy water down. So I got this to lay down first. Now I'm going to come back to this. Okay, now watch what I do here. I'm going to work out this low spot. There. And get it to lay nice and smooth here. Kapow. Nice, worked out great. A little bit of non-compliance here, but I can heat that and make it work too. Watch this. So that's a pretty significant gap. We're gonna clean it up. You see the plastic starting to give? Just use my finger for this one. It's pretty warm, by the way. Pretty warm. Look at that. That's the beauty of the heat gun. It really makes the plastic sticker more compliant. All right, so now we're moving to the last leg here. There's a little wrinkle right here kind of developing, so we're gonna have to be real careful not to make that worse. Let's get a little water in there. I'm gonna start by putting a little heat on that to get it to lay down. I don't know if you can see that wrinkle, but there's a wrinkle there that needs to be cleaned up. Right there. Okay, that did it. Now, let's get our hole lined up again. Cool. And I'm going to smooth this out. See that high spot there? There's a depression here and extra material. I have to work that in. Do that first. Potential ridge right here that I don't like. Just not being good. Let's make that see things our way. Cool, still a high spot. This little relief right here really came in handy. All right, so we're gonna continue getting this leg down. Now there's a little ridge right along here that's under here, that's what we've got to get this thing to comply with. So push down into that ridge. Might take one more application of heat to get that to do what we want. A little more heat. That's amazingly hot. That got real warm with that heat gun. Little ridge up here needs a little heat. And you remember we had that kind of funny spot in here, but we worked it out, just taking our time. So we're on the last leg, which is just this is a sharp bend, and it takes a little bit of heat to get this to lay down. I've done it before on another bike, and it takes a little bit of work to get this edge to lay down. It's a sharp turn. Water's coming out, which is just what I want. Water works as a nice little lubricant in this case and just makes it so that sticker isn't too aggressive with sticking to the plastic. All right, folks, I believe that is one complete radiator shroud, and buddy, it turned out absolutely perfect. Hey everybody, I hope that that video was good for you and it helped you to tackle your graphics projects on your motorcycles. There's nothing better than putting on graphics and new plastics on your bike to bring it up to a like-new condition. It's a great way to spend your money on your motorcycle. And as you can tell from the video, I mean, these plastics turned out fantastic. I mean, it wasn't that difficult to get these graphics down basically on the plastics. It actually turned out pretty good. And you also probably saw at the very beginning in the intro of this video that I did this number plate, and the same techniques apply, but it's just, I didn't want to make the video like so long going over the same techniques again just because it was a different part of the bike. But you can do it. So just don't get anxiety about it. Just take your time on these things. It's really not that hard to get the graphic to lay down the plastic if you're just patient. But I know sometimes people get anxious about it. There's no need to be anxious about doing a project like this. You can do it. So anyway, I wanted to thank you guys also for all the nice comments that people have been leaving for me lately. I'm glad to answer your questions as much as I can. I appreciate the traction that I'm getting on the channel, and I appreciate so much the people that are liking and subscribing to my channel. So thank you so much for supporting me, and you keep doing that, and I will continue to make videos. So thanks once again for this video. I hope it helped you, and have fun in your garage.